Okay, so we're going to work with this because when we get the problem, it is bx minus c, and we need to see what's happening here. We need to see the h. So when we factor out the b, we get the h. You see that?
Yes.
So over here, what does this do? Reflects it. Okay, reflects over the horizontal axis. And I'm going to add a +2 right here. Okay? Because we need to see it all work together. Okay? So that +2, my new horizontal axis is what? 2. Because it's going up 2. The new horizontal axis is 2. So that's what we're going to be reflecting over. Okay?
Why did you add 2?
Because we need something with, we needed a K.
You can just make one up.
Sure.
Like
I just did.
Is it math about rules?
There's rules, but I wanted you to see an example that had everything on it.
No, not when, like, if the book were to give you that, like, +2, you don't need to add one.
Right.
You just did that.
I just did that because we haven't done that one, any of those today.
Honestly, the +2 doesn't affect it that much.
No.
It's just moving where you draw it.
Okay. So now, what is A? 3. What is B? Now, we don't know for sure. We need to do what with this?
Factor.
We need a factor. B is the coefficient of x, so we know that is what?
2 pi.
2 pi. So we need to, right up here, factor out 2 pi. So I have 2 pi. And then x plus what?
4 pi.
2
+2.
Plus 2.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Because I factored out a 2 pi.
Yeah.
So that tells me the graph is doing what?
Going left 2.
It's going left 2.
How do we know that?
Right here, because this is my h. So the period is what?
2 pi over 2 pi, so
2 pi over 2 pi.
So pi.
So 1.
Oh wait, no, 1. Yeah.
So Lily Gooses.
And the scale is your period divided by 4.
So 1/4.
So 1/4.
What's our amp? Or do we not even know that?
Oh, I didn't. Our A is 3. Our amp is what? 3. Okay. So do I got everything? I got my period. I got my amp. I got my scale. I know where I'm supposed to start, right? Okay. So I need to make sure I got it on here. And we're just going to do one complete cycle, if maybe 2. Okay, I am not going to put my y-axis because I went back 2. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to just make one,
Just make a 1
Make the
over.
X.
just make my, and I don't like where I put mine. I'm going to put my x-axis right here. And then I'm going to put my new horizontal axis at where?
2.
2. So just right here.
No, wouldn't it be?
No,
The
every,
amp is 3.
no, it has nothing to do with my
No,
amp.
I'm thinking they're all there.
Okay, my new horizontal axis is at 2. That's the middle of my curve. My amp is 3, so I'm going to have to go up 3, right?
Up 3, or 2.
Yep, because 2 is our middle of our curve, and down 3. And if our middle of our curve is 2, down 3 is going to be below my x-axis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not labeling those yet because those would be on the y-axis, and I haven't put a y-axis there yet, have I? So my curve is going to bounce back and forth between those. My middle is going to be right here at 2. My max is going to be at 2 plus 3 is 5. And 2 minus 3 is -1. So it's going to bounce back and forth between those, right? Okay. It is a negative reflected cosine, so it's not going to start at the max. It's going to start at the minimum. So I'm starting down here. And let's see if we can get two curves in there because I have a feeling that everything is like two curves. I'm trying to see. No, we can just do one. Okay, so then we'll just have one nice curve. If you can you guys fit two?
Maybe.
Fit as much as you can, I guess. I think then we'll just practice counting our scale, right? I'm gonna be so close. I'm gonna cheat it a little bit. Okay,
Oh, you cheated.
I know I cheated a little bit. So I know that I'm gonna bring my minimums, my zeros, and my maximums to the actual x-axis.
I didn't know I was supposed to draw it like that.
What?
Oh god.
Okay, we do not label anywhere on a graph but the x-axis. So we have zeros of the new function. Like I'm cheating it over there. So you don't have to put these lines, but you have to label them on your x-axis. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm just showing you how we're bringing them up and dropping them down. So we moved, it was starting at the y-axis, and we moved everything back how much? 2. So this is now negative 2, isn't it? Yes, because it was at 0 and it went left 2. So 0 minus 2 is negative 2. What is my scale? 1/4. So if I'm starting at 2, that would be
1 and 3/4.
8 over 4.
8 over 4, correct? It would be starting at negative 8 over 4.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add a fourth to negative 8 over 4 and get negative 7 over 4. And I'm going to add a fourth to that and get negative.
6 over 4.
See, Riley, I'm putting it down here and then going to reduce it up here. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract add another 1/4.
Negative 5/4.
-5/4. Add another fourth and get
Negative 1.
-1. Add another 1/4 and get
Negative 3/4.
-3/4. Add another fourth and get -1/2. Add another fourth and get
0.
And negative 1/4.
And then 0.
I get -1/4. And then 0 is actually where?
On the very end.
On that very end. Now do you see why I don't put my y-axis until I know where it's going to be? Yep. So that's 0. This is what right here? 2. This is 5.
Yeah.
And this down here is
Negative 1.
-1.
What number is this for?
This is an example.
Dang it.
Duh.
Sorry.
So that's today you're going to be reviewing some of the other ones. Don't I give you some of your other ones from before? 32. Yeah, you get all the evens from what you did before. And I am going to give you 2 days, but it is due at the end of period tomorrow.
Wait, what? Wait, what did you say?
For this assignment, I'm going to give you tonight and tomorrow in class to work, but it's due at the end of class tomorrow. Turned in paper in my hand at the end of class tomorrow.
Paper?
Yep. Do you got me?
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
I am going to be gone on Thursday, and you have a graphing quiz. So when do you think I
Well, if I just moved everything back a day, when's your quiz?
Probably on Friday.
I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't. Okay, but look, you have little quotation show our prayer.
Right. Yes. I just changed it. Riley, I was just changing it.
Just
Okay.
change it right now.
So Riley, we are gonna do our quiz on Friday. Okay. Next, let's do another one. Okay. Y equals. Actually, I evidently have lots of reflections. 1/2 sine of pi x plus pi, yes, minus what? What do you want to minus?
Probably Maddie.
Yeah.
1.
1?
No.
Yes.
Okay. And I just threw that on there so we have everything at the kitchen sink.
Okay.
It reflects over the horizontal axis.
Which is where?
Y.
No, where is it now?
Oh,
-1.
-1. That's actually right.
Yep. So you could just
I don't know.
write reflects over y equals -1, couldn't you?
Wait, why does it reflect over that?
Because what, isn't this my k?
Yes.
Yes? So everything
Why isn't
moves.
it your H? It was H last time.
No, it wasn't.
Because it's outside the parentheses, Madison.
You said it was H last time.
No, h
My God.
is 2. They both happened to be 2 last time.
You had that funny?
I think you just got them mixed up.
Oh, so
It was 2. It moved up
I know
to.
how to factor though. It's
Good.
pi x plus 1.
But Maddie, this 2 right here was the one that told us it went up 2, not the other one. Okay, so it reflects over -1 because my k is -1, yes? Okay, then I'm going to cross. What's this 1/2?
A.
A, so that means what? The amplitude is 1/2.
Doesn't it reflect over the x-axis though?
It reflects over the y-axis, the horizontal. This negative is the horizontal axis, which would be the y. Not, I said y. X. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, the x-axis is y equals 0. Okay, so now we've changed the x-axis to y equals what? -1. The amp has nothing to do with the reflection. Okay, so now if it, well, I'll do that in a second. Okay, I need to know B.
So you need to factor out.
Well, I should be able to see B all on its own.
Pi. So
It's pi, because it's the coefficient of x. Yes.
I'm confused on since there's a negative in front of the half, why we don't have a reflection over the horizontal axis.
Yeah, we do.
Where?
it says y because when you're graphing it,
Because the horizontal axis is at the x-axis, which is y equals 0.
does even.
An equation of a horizontal line is y equals. Okay, so I need to factor this out up here, yes?
Yes.
So pi, and then I'm left with x, what? Plus 1. So this one's going to left again, huh? They should have mixed it up.
You have to factor it out.
Yes. If you don't factor it out, you don't see your phase shift. You don't see that it moves, because if you don't factor it out, you'd say it moved left pi, and it doesn't move left pi, it moves left 1. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
You've never factored it out before.
Well, because it was always 1. Everything on Thursday was 1. And every problem from 31 to 49, they're all 1.
Like, are you talking about like the number in front of the x? Like B
Yeah, but
one?
yes,
Oh, okay.
if you had an H, B was 1 on everything you've done so far.
So if B isn't one.
If B isn't 1, you have to factor it out. Okay, so period is what?
2.
Is 2 pi over 2. 2 pi over pi, so it is 2. Scale is what?
1/2.
Yeah.
2 over 4, so 1/2. Right? And so we are starting at -1. Yes?
starting at -1, -1? Like, could you say that, or,
I hope I did this right.
because we're going left. and
Yeah.
right, right?
'Cause I
Yeah,
think I did.
kinda. I just don't think about it that way. I kinda just put my dotted lines and go. Okay, so I'm gonna put my x-axis, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, my new horizontal axis is at y equals -1, so that's down here. Okay, my amp is what? 1/2. So I'm going to be just a half up, right? So I'm still below the x-axis, aren't I?
I'm gonna be a half down too.
And then I have to be a half down. I don't want to know why it made it so small, because I could have made it big just like this one.
It's okay.
Like, I could have made it just big.
I understand.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, so
I don't.
I'm sine.
Yeah.
Sine normally starts, I see that it went off.
Is it still recording?
Sine, yeah, it is still reflected, but where does sine normally start?
Zero.
0. Okay, so it's still going to start at 0, but instead of going up, it's going to go where? Down.
Down.
So just somewhere over here, we start at 0
Okay.
and go down.
Okay.
Give yourself 2 complete cycles just so we can practice. Now, you all know what I mean by 2 complete cycles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1, 2. Okay.
I have
So-
like a hard time counting my complete cycles because Riley, it's just very hard.
So what you do, Riley, is just step back after you draw it and say, okay, I repeated here, and then I repeated here. I do that every time if you watch me. Okay, I'm bringing my maxes and mins and zeros up to the x-axis. So I don't miss out on marking anything, because remember, every single one of these is a point, right?
Yeah.
And it's the zeros of the new axis. And if you make those dotted lines, are you going to see where all those things are?
Yes.
Yes, it makes it much easier. Okay, so we're starting at what? -1, right? We moved everything back, which is -2/2. Common denominators.
Okay.
So -1. Then I add a half.
You're gonna add it?
Negative 3/2. 3/3.
No, it's just 1/2.
It's just -1/2.
Oh, add.
And then 0.
And then add a half again.
It's gonna be 0.
It's going to be 0, so I'm going to make my what now?
Y-axis.
Y-axis.
Y-axis, thank you. And we're going to label it real quick so we don't forget. Well, the middle was -1, right?
Yes.
And we went up a half, right? So it's -1/2. And then -3/2.
Yeah.
Okay. So then add a half to 0 is 1/2. Add a half again and get 1. And then 3/2. 2. 5/2. 3.
This is fun.
What is fun?
I think this is fun.
Well,
We
what
need
is
to
it?
draw
The black.
the dotted line for
Hard drawing.
our new axis
I don't care.
on a test or whatever.
I would expect your problems to look basically exactly like this.
I wasn't talking.
Well, I did this wrong.
And the reason why I highly encourage, after years and years and years of saying do it, I don't care, is people mess it up every time.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is put that new axis, your amp up, your amp down, and it just makes it so much easier, and it doesn't take that much more time.
Do you count points for this,
Um,
or is it just for the value?
it's just for the values I count for that. So if you're not doing it, I don't count off for it. But if you're not doing it right, so.
Okay.
You need to pay attention. Sometimes a problem will give you a domain, and I don't think specifically on here, I think our worksheet would give us a domain. They would say they only wanted it graphed from like 0 less than equal to x, which is less than equal to 5/2. So if it told me it only wanted 0 to 5 halves, okay? So I drew my graph. Do I need to get rid of some of it?
Yep.
Yes. I need to get rid of all of what? That.
Okay.
And then I need to get rid of what?
And everything after
3.
5 halves.
Everything after this. So if you ever have something like that, you know what you should do? Graph the whole thing and do what?
Erase it.
Then erase it. Because then you won't mess it up.
You won't get confused.
Yay.
Okay? And technically I should have gone right through that dot. But that's okay.
Dude, you sound like Carrie Ford. You know that
She looks like me too.
You know that Carrie Ford?
Okay. So when you're, I don't know how much was recorded and didn't record. They got most of it. When you're doing this, you need to just step through the problems. Your first part of the assignment is a review of what you had over the weekend. Got it? Okay, if I want to check this,
Is this 4.5 big 3?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,